Feel like the sunlight go. Them girls they sell them what they go. Every night it be simple. Money cost story unfold. Free, free, then won't be free. No more tears, no more pain. Make I go, make I see. That our life we get free.
Welcome to today's deep dive. You ready to dive in?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Right.
So, we're going deep on the law of attraction,
Okay.
and specifically guided by Bob Proctor's YouTube video. The law of attraction explained.
All right.
Now, you might be thinking another law of attraction deep dive, but what makes this one really interesting to me is the way Proctor presents it.
Okay.
He does it old school with a flip chart.
Yeah, I like that.
Like he's just sitting there talking to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about it. It feels very genuine and authentic.
It's refreshing, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That direct, simple approach,
Mm-hmm.
it cuts through a lot of the noise.
Yeah, and he gets right to the point. One of the things he says right at the beginning is that the law of attraction works just like gravity.
Yeah.
It's always on. It's always influencing us.
Interesting.
I thought that was really interesting. Is it just a clever hook or some profound truth?
Well, think about it. Gravity is constant, right? We can't just decide to turn it off when it's inconvenient,
Right.
Proctor's suggesting. The same is true for the law of attraction.
Okay.
It's always shaping our reality, even if we're not consciously aware of it.
I can see that, but then the question is, how does it actually work?
Well, he breaks it down using a very simple diagram.
Okay.
The mind, body, and subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
What I found fascinating is how he describes the body. It's not just flesh and bone. It's a molecular structure,
Okay.
a massive energy
Mm.
in constant motion.
Wow.
He even says
Yeah.
this energy persists even after death.
Really? That's
It
wild.
really challenged you to reconsider what we think of as life and death.
Right.
And if we are essentially energy beings, then understanding how that energy interacts
Hmm.
with the world around us becomes crucial.
So where does the law of attraction fit into all this?
That's where the subconscious comes in.
Okay.
He calls it our paradigm,
Okay.
formed by our early experiences, beliefs, even inherited traits. It's like a filter, shaping how we see the world and what we attract.
So if our subconscious is full of like negativity, we're basically tuned into a bad vibes frequency.
Precisely. He says the subconscious doesn't judge thoughts as good or bad.
Oh, interesting.
It simply acts on them. If we're constantly dwelling on lack,
Mm-hmm.
that's the reality we're creating.
That's a little unsettling.
It is.
But does that mean we're just stuck?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And where things get really interesting, Proctor says, yes, our paradigm is deeply rooted, but it's not set in stone.
Okay.
We have the power to change it, to shift our vibration and
Right.
attract a different reality.
I like that.
But that requires understanding how our thoughts influence our energy and ultimately our experiences.
So how do we start tapping into that power?
He describes a flow of power
Mm.
that enters our consciousness.
Mhm.
It influences our thoughts and creates what he calls our vibration.
Okay.
This is where he brings in another analogy.
Mhm.
Radio frequencies,
Okay.
just like a radio.
Yeah.
We attract experiences that match our vibration.
So if I'm feeling happy and positive, I'm broadcasting on a good vibes frequency.
Exactly. But if we're stuck in negativity and fear, we're broadcasting on a much lower frequency,
Yeah.
attracting more of the same.
It's like being tuned into the wrong station, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wondering why you're only hearing static.
That makes sense, but it also seems incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
What if I'm trying to be positive, but my subconscious keeps pulling me back?
That's where things get challenging. He talks about what he calls A-type thoughts.
Okay.
These are thoughts that conflict with our paradigm. They're outside our comfort zone, and they can cause a lot of discomfort
I see. Yeah.
because they challenge our deepest beliefs.
So how do we push past that discomfort?
Well, he suggests we need to become aware of the thoughts we're habitually thinking. Are they aligned with the reality we want?
Right.
And if not, we need to make a conscious effort to shift.
It sounds like it's about more than just thinking positive. It's about aligning our thoughts with what we want.
Exactly. It's about getting clear
Yeah.
on what we desire and then consistently choosing thoughts and actions
Mm-hmm.
that reflect that desire.
That makes sense. But how do we know if we're actually changing our vibration?
Well, he offers a fascinating clue. He says our bodies are constantly radiating energy that can be detected by an infrared camera.
Wow.
He links this to the concept of feeling.
Okay.
He suggests that our emotions are a powerful indicator of our vibration.
So if we're feeling good, we're vibing high.
Essentially, yes. Our emotions are like a barometer
Oh, I like that.
for our vibrational state. When we're feeling joy, love, gratitude, those are high-frequency emotions. When we're feeling anger, fear, resentment, those are low-frequency emotions.
Yeah.
And the universe responds accordingly.
So our emotions are sending out signals, and the law of attraction is responding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while we can't always control the external circumstances that trigger our emotions,
Right.
we can choose how we respond to them.
So instead of getting swept away by negativity,
Mm.
we can choose to focus on something more positive.
Exactly.
This all ties back to changing our paradigm, right? If our beliefs are rooted in negativity, it's going to be hard to maintain a high vibration.
That's why it's crucial to address those beliefs and reprogram them with positive, empowering thoughts.
It's not about denying negative emotions. It's about becoming aware of them
Exactly.
and choosing to focus on something better. So if we want to attract wealth, happiness, health, we need to align our paradigms with those frequencies.
That's the key takeaway here. It's not a one-time fix. It's a journey
Wow.
of self-awareness, personal growth, conscious creation.
This has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I have a much clearer understanding, but I still have so many questions.
As do I.
Yeah.
But perhaps Proctor offers some answers in the next part.
All right, well, let's continue exploring them.
That's good.
So we're back. And I'm really curious to hear more about how we actually apply this in our lives.
Well, he acknowledges it's tough to change those deeply ingrained beliefs.
Yeah.
It's like learning a new language. It takes time and effort and a willingness to stumble.
But it's not impossible, right?
Exactly. He even shares his own story.
Yeah, I love that part where he talks about going from making a modest income to a millionaire just by applying these principles.
Right.
It's pretty inspiring.
It is. It speaks to the transformative power of this. But it makes you wonder, if it's that simple, why aren't we all millionaires?
That's a great question.
What's the missing piece?
Yeah.
Well, he talks about repetition and consistency.
Okay.
He encourages us to regularly feed our subconscious minds with positive things.
Like what kinds of things?
Affirmations, visualizing our desired outcomes, surrounding ourselves with supportive people and environments.
So it's like we're rewiring our brains
Exactly.
for that reality we want.
It's about participating
Yeah.
in the creation of our own reality,
Okay.
taking inspired action, making conscious choices, and believing we are worthy of receiving.
I'm curious about the idea of manifestation. Where does that fit into all of this?
Yeah, there are definitely some similarities, but manifestation often focuses on techniques. It's like scripting or visualization, while Proctor's approach emphasizes understanding the principles and aligning our entire being with our desires.
So it's not enough to just write down our goals.
Not exactly. It's about becoming conscious creators.
Not just passive wishers.
Right.
So how do we know if we're actually attracting what we want?
That's where self-awareness comes in.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about our bodies
Yeah.
radiating energy,
Yes.
detectable by an infrared camera? He connects that to the concept of feeling
Okay.
as a way to become aware of our vibration.
So our emotions are a direct reflection of our vibrations.
Essentially, yes.
Interesting.
Think about it. When you're feeling happy and joyful, things tend to flow more easily.
Yeah, it's true.
You attract positive experiences. People are drawn to you. Opportunities appear.
But what about when we're feeling down? Does that mean we're doomed?
Not necessarily. Negative emotions are a natural part of life.
Okay.
We can't suppress them. But we can choose how we respond.
So instead of getting stuck, we use those emotions as signals.
Exactly.
Okay.
We become aware
Yeah.
and consciously choose to shift our focus.
It's about being more intentional, right?
Yes.
With our thoughts and actions.
He reminds us that our subconscious minds are constantly absorbing information.
So what are some practical things we can do?
Repetition and consistency are key to reprogramming our subconscious.
So it's like training our brains
Exactly.
for focus on abundance,
Yeah.
joy, success, rather than lack, fear, limitation.
And just like any training program, it takes time and effort.
But the more we practice,
Yeah.
the easier it becomes.
Right.
So if we want to create a life filled with all these good things, we need to align our paradigms.
That's right.
Well, what does that actually look like?
That's a great question, and perhaps one we can explore further as we dive into the final part.
Perfect. I'm ready. Okay, so here we are, the final part of our deep dive into the law of attraction with Bob Proctor. And I'm ready to hear more about how we actually put this all into practice.
Well, Proctor leaves us with a challenge. He says we'll never attract those things, wealth, happiness, health, until our paradigms vibrate at the same frequency as those experiences.
So it's not enough to just want those things. We have to truly believe we deserve them.
Right.
And align ourselves with that belief.
It's a fundamental shift
Yeah.
in our beliefs and perceptions.
But how do we do that?
Well,
Yeah.
how do we bridge that gap between where we are and where we want to be? Remember how he talked about our bodies radiating energy?
Yeah, with the infrared camera.
Exactly. He circles back to that idea and connects it to our emotions.
Okay.
Our feelings are the key to understanding and shifting our vibration.
So it's not just about the thoughts, it's about feeling the right feeling.
Exactly. Our emotions are a powerful indicator.
Okay.
If we're feeling joy, love, gratitude, those are high-frequency emotions. That will attract more of the same.
But what about when we're feeling fear, anger, resentment?
Those are low-frequency emotions, and they'll keep us stuck.
So then the question becomes, how do we control our emotions?
He acknowledges that we can't always control what triggers them.
Right, the external stuff. But we can choose our response.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I'm feeling stressed about a deadline, I shouldn't just ignore it.
You need to acknowledge those feelings, but then you can shift your focus.
To something more empowering.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe remind yourself of past successes. Visualize completing the project. Take some deep breaths.
So we're training ourselves to become more aware
Hey,
and make conscious choices about how we want to feel.
It all ties back to changing our paradigm. If our subconscious is programmed negatively, it takes effort to shift those beliefs.
So we have to recognize when we're slipping into that low frequency and use the tools,
Exactly.
affirmations, visualizations, gratitude, to bring ourselves back into alignment.
It's an ongoing process,
It is, yeah.
not a one-time fix.
This has been so fascinating. I feel like I have a much deeper understanding now.
It's a powerful concept,
Yeah.
and there's always more to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think we've got a great foundation.
I agree. So what's the one key takeaway that you want listeners to remember?
We're not just passive observers. We have the power to create our reality
But it takes effort, awareness.
and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones.
Beautifully said. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the law of attraction. We hope it's inspired you to explore the power of your own mind, to create a life you truly love.
Every night it be simple. Money cost story unfold. Free, free.